Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of Hacker Cooking. My name is Nomadic, as some of you may know me on the interwebs, and today I'm going to show you how to cook a barbecue pulled pork in the crockpot. So let's get started.
Alright, so first thing you want to do is you want to get your roast. This is the pork butt or pork shoulder roast. It's got the bone in it right here. Actually, it's over here, which we'll be able to take out. So I got it out of the packaging and dried it all off with a paper towel just to get all of the juices and stuff that it had been sitting in the package off of it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to apply a dry rub to the outside, and then we are going to make our barbecue sauce and we'll get it in the crock pot and get it going. So I almost forgot to mention, this is an 8.5 pound roast. I have one of the bigger crock pots and this 8.5 pound roast barely fits, so you probably don't want to go too much larger than this, but it will reduce quite a bit as you cook it because as you render out a lot of the fat content. So the first things first is our dry seasoning. So what we're going to start with here, we got half a cup of brown sugar, and we got a half tablespoon of smoked paprika, and we have 1 teaspoon of black pepper, about 1 teaspoon of chili powder, we have 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, we have 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. All right, so there is our dry seasoning. This is all mixed up, right? Next up, what we want to do is we're going to season this. So when I put this thing in, I'm gonna put the fat side down. So our roast is all done. We got our dry rub all over it. It's on all sides of it. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to make our barbecue sauce, and we're gonna use what's left over from our dry rub in that barbecue sauce. I'm gonna transfer this from the plate to a actual serving Pyrex dish. All right, so now what we're gonna do, I have a Pyrex just serving dish, something that I can make the barbecue sauce in. It makes it a little bit easier to pour. I'm gonna add all of our dry rub to this. I'm gonna be mixing all these wet ingredients together. So again, this just makes it a lot easier. All right, so that's all in there. Get this out of the way. So now what we're gonna do is half a cup of apple cider vinegar, a half of cup of ketchup, put all that in there, and then what we're going to do is half a cup of barbecue sauce. I like Sweet Baby Ray's. It's good stuff. Use the rest of my bottle. Put that in there. Okay. It's a half a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. This is just some soy sauce that I picked up from an Asian market. It doesn't really matter what kind it is as long as it's just normal soy sauce. It doesn't have to be dark soy sauce or anything like that. So 1, 2, got all that in there. Now what we want to do is we want to mix all this together. So we just got a fork. We got to remember we got our seasoning down here at the bottom. So we want to just make sure we get all of that. All right. There is our barbecue sauce. Easy peasy. So we want to make sure we got everything all at the bottom. There's no more clumps or anything like that in there. And then what we're going to do is we are going to now put the meat in the crock pot. So we're gonna cook it on high for 1 hour, and then after that 1 hour, we're gonna switch it to low and cook it for about 7 to 9 hours. Before we get it in the crock pot though, what you're gonna wanna do is pour a little bit of barbecue sauce down on the inside of the crock pot, and that just kind of creates that base layer between the actual crock pot and the meat. And then what you're gonna do is put the meat in fat side down, and then you're gonna pour this rest of our barbecue sauce over the entire meat. So we got the inside of our crock pot. We are going to pour down some of our barbecue sauce, not all of it, just a little bit. Okay, we got our roast in there, and then we're gonna pour the rest of our barbecue sauce over the top of the roast like this. And it's gonna kind of just marinate in this. All right, so next up, what we're gonna do is prepare the things that we're gonna go with the pork. We're gonna eat it almost like a soup, so we're gonna add these few things to it. I got some cabbage, got some cilantro, and we're actually also gonna do a couple limes as well. So first thing I'm gonna do, and this cabbage has some spots on it that are just from it like sitting in the bin at the store that I don't really want. So I'm just gonna pull all this stuff off. I don't really want any of this. There's tons of cabbage. I always get way more than I need. So I'm just pulling all this off. Personally, you could eat it though. There's nothing wrong with it. That's just personal preference. Alright, well, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half because I'm not going to eat this whole thing. Okay, set that to the side. And we're putting it on top, so I just want like shredded cabbage. I don't want anything super crazy. Oops, that one's a little big. Alright, so next up what I'm gonna do is cilantro. I don't use all of it. What I kind of do here is I'll just cut it at an angle like this, just to kind of get it off that stem. The stems aren't gonna hurt you. I personally don't even notice them when they're chopped up. And what we'll do is we'll take this and kind of fold it like this. Fold it on top of itself. That way when you cut it, you're cutting a bunch of pieces. We'll still leave it pretty good size. Careful not to cut yourself, just because you are trying to hold it and you got your fingers kind of in there in the way. So I'm just gonna roughly chop it up. Alright, so next up what we're going to do is we're going to cut some limes. I'm going to use this cutting board to tear up the pork so I don't want juice all over the place. So I'm just putting another cutting board down on top. What you want to do is roll your limes a little bit, kind of just breaks up everything inside. Makes it so you can get a little bit more juice. And we're going to have these we're just going to have these so that you can kind of grab it and you can squeeze it onto your pork. So I'm just going to cut these up into little slivers like this, so that we can just grab them and go. All right, so this is the roast.
So the audio got messed up for this last portion of the video, so I'm re-recording it. But once the pork was finished and it was all shredded up, basically what I did was added the shredded pork to the bowl. I saved some of the juice from when the pork was cooking in the crock pot and ladled that over the top of the pork. Then we added the cabbage, the cilantro, and some of the lime that we cut up from earlier and just mixed it up. Now, this roast is massive. There was 4 people eating it and there was tons of leftovers. So get creative with the leftovers. You can do barbecue pulled pork sandwiches. You can do quesadillas, grilled cheese, I mean, nachos. The possibilities are endless. So get creative. And if you like the content, you like the video, then please give me a thumbs up. If you have suggestions for later videos, then go ahead and leave a comment. This is Hacker Cooking, and I hope to see you guys next time.